Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Exposed to all of the cybersecurity domains and that culture and protecting information and data long before cybersecurity was actually, like I said, an industry, and worked technical operations, exploited technical devices, worked in a field in counterterrorism. And then I did that for about a decade and decided I was tired of that life. And I got out and was able to then transfer my skills as an intelligence officer into cybersecurity, which was an emerging industry at the time that I got out. Bridging the gap for that divide that's there by providing the pathways in cybersecurity and education. Like, we are very focused on programming and the type of educational outreach that we can provide to our women so that they're educated and they know the industry that they're getting into.
Welcome to the Follow Brand Podcast. We're going to take it all the way up. And I've never done a show here, but we're going to do a show in Grand Rapids, Michigan. 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 Oh my God, they won a championship in football. They've been doing some very phenomenal things. Even the Detroit Lions got out there and beat this year. Yeah, we won't bring that up. It was a tough loss. But I think they'll have a good team going forward. But you are on a great team. We're going to talk about women in technology. We're going to talk about cybersecurity in general. And let's talk about why there aren't as many women in tech. There's some reasons around that.
And we want to get things out there that people say, hey, you have skill sets that are transferable, that are needed in the tech space. It's a matter of creating those opportunities to get more visible and give you the skill sets and the different certifications you might need to participate. But my goodness, I'm going to tell you that Angela's credentials are outstanding. And we're going to talk about this. So, Angela, you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Grant. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. My name is Angela Bergsma. I'm based here in Grand Rapids. I am the president and one of the founders of Latinas in Cyber. And in my day job, I work for Palo Alto Networks as a senior security practice manager as in the public sector. So work on securing the federal space with my stakeholders. So,
well, let's talk about how you got there. Those are big things. You know, you're working for a major company in cyber in Palo Alto, but you've got background in the service and even previous to that. Tell us how your journey to get to where you're at right now.
yeah, it's such an interesting journey. So I think I'll hit a little bit on how I got into cybersecurity and technology in general. And it was just a very diverse background. I actually was an art major at one point in college and decided at some point that art wasn't a very lucrative career path and ended up getting a degree in Spanish. And during this time, 9/11 happened. So I come from a very strong Navy family and decided to join the Navy after college and ended up doing the reserves with a degree in Spanish and specialized in something called naval intelligence. So worked on naval intelligence, got my clearances. This was all a time also in which Homeland Security wasn't even an agency at the time. We didn't have the cloud. Cybersecurity wasn't an industry. But I ended up getting clearances and moving out to DC and really having a very diverse and lucrative career in the intelligence industry, or what they call the intelligence community. So I was actually exposed to all of the cybersecurity domains and that culture and protecting information and data long before cybersecurity was actually, like I said, an industry, and worked technical operations, exploited technical devices, worked in a field in counterterrorism. And then I did that for about a decade and decided I was tired of that life. And I got out and was able to then transfer my skills as an intelligence officer into cybersecurity, which was an emerging industry at the time that I got out. So that's a little bit.
That's a heck of a story, I'm going to tell you. I mean, you go from learning, art and Spanish as a language to doing cyber security intelligence for the Navy. That's a huge leap. What skill set do you believe that you brought to the table that enabled you to be so successful?
Oh, I mean, the skills that I had to be successful in cybersecurity, as an intelligence officer, my job was to understand information and data. And a lot of what the cybersecurity industry does is protecting personal information or companies' information. So, and also the other part of it was learning how to exploit information as well. So I was able to bring some of those skills of exploitation and just understanding how to protect, or the value of information, to my day job in cybersecurity, and to explain to stakeholders why they would want to protect their information. Why would a nation state want your information, especially if you're in the Midwest working in various critical infrastructure industries? Just having understanding why would a nation state or hackers or hacktivists want my information to sell it to a foreign service or other nefarious sources.
This is so interesting. And you also have started, I don't know if you founded the foundation or the organizations. We're talking about Latinas in cyber. You're talking about breaking barriers. We're talking about, I just talked to someone, they were telling me and they were doing coding and that type of thing. And they went to a conference. There were 200 people in the room talking about coding, and there was only like 5 to 8 women of the entire room. I find that a little bit disturbing. Talk to us about why you started your program and what your purpose is and your why.
Yeah, so after I got out of the intelligence industry, I worked in the commercial sector for a little bit, and I was also an entrepreneur, so I had my own business selling like Microsoft security solutions. And as I was delving into cybersecurity and selling these solutions to my customers, I was looking for a community like some people that looked like me, women that were in cybersecurity. I'm biracial, Mexican American, Irish. And there were some communities out there, but I hadn't found anything that was Latina focused. And the groups that I were a part of that were Latina focused, like Latinas in Tech, they were heavily invested in like the networking aspect, but I was looking for like the subject matter experts and the mentors in cybersecurity specifically, and didn't see it. So that was one reason. The second reason is I had taught, or I was speaking to a group after school, and was speaking to a group of students that were diverse and were looking to get into cybersecurity. And I had a teacher afterwards just thank me for like telling my story, and the fact that I was an art major at one point, and their students couldn't necessarily see themselves in that space, but that the young women in the room needed to see women like myself talking about how they had this different, diverse career in technology and cybersecurity. So that was the second thing that preempted me to want to start an organization. And then the last thing was in the spring of 2022, there's an organization called IC Squared, which is an industry-specific cybersecurity organization that kind of sets standards for our industry. And they put out a statistic that there were only 4% of Latinos in the cybersecurity market, or in the United States. And that was very alarming to me, because Latinos is plural in Latin or in Spanish. So it can be men and women, which I then estimated it was likely 2 to 3% of women in this space. And I just thought it was really unacceptable. And then the last piece was, like you mentioned, maybe being in a room of 200 programmers and you're the only person of color. I also went to a function in DC when I was in my entrepreneurial stage, and I went to, it's called the National Institute of Standards of Technology, NIST, which they set a lot of industries specific cybersecurity standards. And I also was like the only woman of 40 men, and definitely the only woman of color. So I felt isolated and not having somebody that I could turn to like myself. So I really at that time was just like, I need to start this organization. And so I put out a call to action on LinkedIn, and I ended up finding a community of women, and slowly for almost 2 years now, we've been building Latinas in Cyber. We just became a 501c3 last summer. So we've got about 7,000 members across the nation, and we're doing a lot of great things. So thank you for asking.
You have to do your work first. You have to research, you have to study, you have to take courses, you have to believe in yourself, and you really have to fight hard. I see concerns, but I also see that as professionals like you and I in the industry, in this space, we need to help people and society by creating policies, frameworks, and guidelines not only for organization, but for people, because this is going to be, AI is everywhere.
I have my PhD in biomedical informatics, and I tend to focus and get really passionate around genomics, particularly when we talk about genomics for precision health, genomics for community and population health, so on and so forth, and some of the disparities and differences that manifest themselves in the human body based on your heredity, your ethnicity, your environmental impact and stimulus that's coming from outside of your control, and how that impacts the way you ingest medicine, the way your body takes in that medicine and delivers it throughout your cells. Even though the drug is the same, the dosage is the same, the age, weight, blood pressure, all of these other vital signs may be the same, but the drug may manifest itself differently between these two demographics, just simply based on the differences in their genetic history and in their genomes.
Now, I am impressed. You're saying you started this only a couple of years ago, and you've got 7,000 members already?
Across all of our socials, about 7,000 people following us. And we've hosted a couple educational workshops to date, and each of our cohorts have over 300 applicants each time. So we're really our focus is really to build cybersecurity pathways for Latinas and to create the next generation of Latina leaders. So we're doing that through education or curriculum, careers, and community. We call it our 3 C's. But everything we do is centered around developing these pathways and then helping women become leaders in this space, because that margin is so small in the United States.
I agree. I love what it is that you're doing. Great social impact. You talk a lot about psychology in cybersecurity. You have neurodiversity, things of this nature, the mindset. And we had this conversation before we jumped on the podcast around, certain women that are getting involved in the cybersecurity space or wanting to get involved. Talk to us about the mindset. What do you demystify around that to help people know that they can be successful in this field?
Yeah, and I would say for the Latina culture, Latin culture in general, the culture is very male dominated. And so the man typically is the breadwinner. The man does the hard jobs. And so there's a little bit of us transforming, like, what does that look like in the home? Like, what does a woman contribute in the home? And are her skills transferable to get into a career in technology or cybersecurity? So it's educating women in our community that their skills as mothers, as teachers, or other industries that they may typically be in, as like caregivers or medical teachers, all of that. That there are skills in those other areas that they can bring into cybersecurity, because cybersecurity industry is so large. It's $1 trillion industry. There's roles in every type of domain. So you don't have to be the super technical person. You could be a salesperson. I'm sorry, I said I was a practice manager. I'm a senior program manager in the public sector. So I can organize and manage information and people really well. And as mothers, women can organize their families and their to-dos and, manage just so many different things. There's just a lot of those types of skills that they could bring into cybersecurity that would be an entry into this industry. So it has the least barriers for entry. In regards to psychology, I think it's changing that narrative that cybersecurity is seen as just protective. Because I think externally in Latin cultures, if you think about cyber or the police force, it's male dominated. We have to shift the narrative in those homes that it's not necessarily male. It's a plethora of different roles and job functions. So you could be extremely good at organizing information. You can have the gift for gab and can sell services. There's just so much. So
No, I love that because it's a big ecosystem. And I encourage our listeners to look at that aspect of it. And I work a lot in the hospital world. And I tell people all the time, the hospitals aren't just full of nurses and doctors. There's all kinds of different roles because it's a mini enterprise. So there's all kinds of things that you can actually find yourself doing even in that field. Cybersecurity is the same way. There's so many other things that you can get involved in, but we need your presence, because that input is so key, because we live in the planet, right? On the planet where you've got probably 50 to 51%. I don't know what the exact percentages are, but there's a lot of women and there's a lot of men. You can't be so one-sided because you're not getting the perspectives of all things that are people, especially if let's just say someone's trying to hack you or your company or whatever it might be. They're going to leverage where you're most negative and where you're most vulnerable, right? So if you've got populations of people that aren't cyber aware, they're not touching them, they feel that they don't need to be, or they don't feel that they're inclusive in that world. If I'm a hacker, I'm going to go after the people that aren't as savvy in those areas to exploit. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's where I would say that the human is like the weakest link in cybersecurity. And in my government career, in my military or my government career, I specialized in, it's called human intelligence. So when we would exploit people, it was all about understanding the psychology of that person and why would they give us information. So there is an aspect of that I'm really concerned of within cybersecurity that is more people-centric, and the exploitation of people that, I think cyber today is really focused on the technology and protecting the systems and the domains and all of that. But self-education or education awareness in cybersecurity is, I think, crucial. And to your point, educating people that could be the weakest link because they don't have cyber hygiene. They don't know how to, they've never done an assessment of their environment, or they don't know how to, have lengthy passwords, or just, not to let people follow them into spaces and things like that. So there's just a lot from the human aspect that it could be very vulnerable within cybersecurity.
100%. We are such a digitized society now. We think about, and I want people to really focus on this through time. Think about how much you were in front of a computer type device 30 years ago. Probably not as much. Then 20 years ago, and now 10 years ago. And now we're looking at now where we're probably interfacing with some type of digital device on the daily basis, especially with mobile computing, right? Now, you obviously got your tablets and your desktops and all these different things, but not only just that, think about the technology that's now in the home all the time, whether you've got an Alexa app or some kind of other device that talks to you. We're getting into that AI world, but it's all over the place. So if you're not aware of how most of your financial world is totally digitized. Remember when you didn't even go to our ATM, before. Right. Now you can go to any ATM anywhere.
Yeah. You have to use multi-factor to get in to your bank now. There's so many different protocols in place to protect yourself, your hygiene at home.
100. So I want my kids, especially like I have a daughter, I have a grandchild, I got two of them, that they need to be aware of this digital world. Not only if you don't even get into the industry, it's like, oh no, that's only for the IT people. No, not anymore. It's for everybody. It's like driving a car. We all need to know how to operate a vehicle in our society. Certain people, or knowing how to take the subway, you know how to do that. You just need to know these things. Right. I like what you're doing because you're educating people like, hey, these are things you need to know. And you nailed it well about the human factor in cybersecurity, the social engineering that's taking place. I don't care how much software you got out there and all these little locks. If somebody gets in there, you're giving away all the keys to the mansion, you're still going to get hacked.
Yeah, I was actually at a conference this last week, and that is the biggest, I work in public sector, and they talked about how businesses and people are the target of nation states from a cybersecurity perspective. And, they don't understand why or how. And the reality is that people have relationships and they have information that they themselves might think is not important, but to somebody that is targeting them, it could be important. And they might be a way to get to the end person or data or system that they're trying to get to. So, depending on where you work and the relationships you have, if you think about it, I'm sure you have so many connections. Could I get to Grant and then get to my ultimate target? If I knew Grant and befriended Grant, that's usually what nation states or our adversaries overseas, they do have targets here in the United States. They have operations that happen in the clandestine aspect. So you very well could be that threat. So having operational security, which we call OPSEC in the military, knowing your surroundings, recognizing when people are asking you questions that just seem a little bit like, why would they be asking me about my company and these very in-depth kind of questions, just having that awareness, and then going through. So I think cybersecurity awareness training as well will help prevent some of those types of activities from happening.
Of people being more and more aware of how these threat actors are going after people daily, every second. I mean, One thing that people aren't, they might not be familiar with is called phishing emails, right? Where they send you information, try to get you to click on a link where it's an offer or something like that. But 3.4 billion phishing emails are sent daily, right? Think about that. And they're saying for organizations, the average cyber attack is called a data breach is costing $4.5 million to an organization.
I tend to operate more in the vein of what are we doing as an enterprise, as an organization around our goals and our strategy, taking that first, and then looking more broadly across that stack to say, okay, where do we have gaps in the technologies that exist today? But more importantly, where do we have gaps in what we seek to achieve where technology is not going to be as efficient or as adequate as is necessary to meet those targets? So passionate about this space. And again, you know, I've had the great fortune to have had some wonderful mentors and leaders in my time that I've learned so very much from. And I really seek to do the same and to give that back. I love mentoring and seeing people grow. Building those high performing teams is where I really find my greatest value and contribution.
Oh, I think everybody should have some cyber awareness training. Every single
Yeah.
person. I've noticed lately, especially on LinkedIn, because I love LinkedIn, love the platform, but I'm starting to get more and more. I'm seeing what I call these AI bots, and they're pretending to be people. A lot of times they're young, Asian, female with only a few connections, but all of a sudden, like, Grant, I just love your profile. You're doing such wonderful things. Let's connect. And then they just start in with these unbelievable things that they're doing. They want me to participate. And I'm like, so
Yeah.
usually your spidey sense will go off like,
Yeah.
I'm not that good looking. I don't
Yeah.
think I warrant that kind of activity. But you've got to be aware of all these different things that are happening to get your attention.
Mhm.
And I always go by this. What are they asking you to do? You said it right. What is the ask here? And does that make sense? And what is the nature of this relationship? And does it align
Mhm.
to what it is that why you're having this conversation in the first place? And there's so many people. We're in a worldwide community now, much
Mhm.
closer than it ever was before COVID. So it's not unusual to have conversation with somebody in another country, but you don't really know that person or what they're
Right.
involved in or what their connections are. But you do have to look at yourself. What is the value that I bring to this person?
Mhm.
And why do they feel that it's valuable? And you've got to do some due diligence there,
Yeah. And
correct?
I think on LinkedIn too, make sure you have certain settings turned on. Don't allow them to see your connections. Don't allow them to export, because there was a function in there at one time where you could export your connections. So make sure you turn off some of those features. I would even say any personal information like a phone number or a personal email, don't have that connected to your LinkedIn if you don't want these people targeting you. And I do advocate for using LinkedIn and to target people for work and to like build networking opportunities and connections. I mean, I use it all the time and I help our members like understand the value of networks and building your network on LinkedIn, but be purposeful, be safe with the information you put out there. Like you said, are these people connecting with me from countries that are not friendly to the United States? There are like 5 to 8 countries, I believe, that are considered, not friends with the United States. I would advise blocking connections from those countries, just because you are a U.S. citizen and you have U.S. relationships. You're likely connected to Fortune 500 organizations with powerful people as a CEO. So those are valuable connections to somebody that might be targeting those organizations.
Exactly. And I'll go back to what I even said. What are they asking you to do?
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, what kind of information are you putting out there, and understanding that public information is public. Certain things should be private. And if you put something out in a public forum and it's public, that means anybody has access to it. So be aware of those things. But we're going to circle back to our original conversation, which is women in tech. We're doing this series because I know there's a lot of women in technology, but it's not always that visible, or they're kind of scattered throughout. And I still go back to what you said earlier. Wow, you started this 2 years ago. You got 7,000 people that are like, yes, I want to be a part of this organization. I want to have people that look like me, to understand what I'm doing, and have that mentorship and have the opportunity for someone to advocate for me. And then I have all these different things that can have these conversations, because women in technology is a big thing. I think it's big business.
Yeah, it is. And at Latinas in Cyber, we're really creating that divide, or we're bridging the gap for that divide that's there by providing the pathways in cybersecurity and education. Like, we are very focused on programming and the type of educational outreach that we can provide to our women so that they're educated and they know the industry that they're getting into. And so we do that. We offer a full life cycle of programs from a cohort perspective, where we bring in industry experts to speak to them as they're learning about cybersecurity in the different domains. We've partnered with Google and IC2 and also Fortinet, some major organizations in the cybersecurity industry, to deliver education. And I think that's really key, is providing the education so that these women can get into this industry. And we're creating that workforce, and we're adding to the workforce. We're going to change that 2% so that it's 10% someday here in the United States, because it's really unacceptable, to be honest.
And it's dangerous. We've got to educate our communities around. If you're operating in a digital ecosystem all the time, you've got to be cyber aware. And we've got to, and I love how you've gotten these other companies to, like, you know what, let's jump in here. Let's educate. Let's get people familiar, so everyone's familiar with each other. And when you have familiarity, you can get things done. You can be more open. You can be like, okay, this is what you need to do to get to where you want to go. Let's take what your passion and your purpose is all about, and see where we can get you to where you will fit into this organization and do great work. And not just wait till you're in college or early careers. A lot of this should be starting in our K through 12, because how many kids now have a cell phone in their hand, and they're only like 7 or 8 years old?
Oh my gosh, my nephews know how to handle an iPhone better than I do. But the other thing too, I think that is important for women in tech and in cybersecurity, is not only providing the pathways, but also giving them visibility. So another area that we're focused on is thought leadership, and providing that exclusive networking opportunity at the mid to senior and executive level. So we do have a series where Fifi, actually one of your guests, she was on a couple episodes ago. She's one of our hosts for a series called La Jefa, and it's a speaker series for our C-suite where we highlight Latina leaders and other women of color in the space in cybersecurity, and they get to talk about their subject matter expertise. So we're giving them the platform as well to be seen as leaders and as thought leaders in the United States as well, because there isn't a lot of those platforms available for us to have that presence. And we want the little girls K through 12 to see women speaking about what they're doing and their expertise in cybersecurity or AI, and giving them that voice. So that's really also another crucial element of Latinas in cyber as well.
I'm a technology strategist, and what that means is I sit with businesses, I try to understand where they want to go, how they want to get there, and figure out how we use technology to get the business there. So my role is actually very simple. It sounds complicated, but it's very simple. I really believe that you have to find your purpose in technology. And no matter what you do, and this could be true for every function, technology, accounting, or whatever have you, right? You have to find your purpose. And that can be hard today in technology because there's so many different things you can do. There's software delivery, cybersecurity, there's virtual reality, there's IoT. I mean, the options are endless.
The health system that I grew up in, that my mom worked at, they were embarking on their epic journey. And so I was hired into a new role here that they had, which was the Chief Technology Officer. And so my scope of responsibilities here is all on the tech side predominantly, but we play such an integral role with our application colleagues and with our epic colleagues. So that's where I joined the organization here. NCH healthcare system at the time where Hurricane Ian hit us directly, and us in the Fort Myers area. So in healthcare IT, we are driven by disaster recovery, right? Like we plan for it our whole careers. Like that's the first thing you learn about when you come into an IT organization is what's the disaster recovery plan? And typically, once you've been in the industry for some time, you are used to working through disaster.
I'll go back to the part of what I was told. I would I was told that I wasn't good enough to go to college. So I would go back and say, don't listen to people that put limits and labels on me.
Mhm.
Because there's something that a really smart guy taught me once. His name is Chaz Hartwig. I love Chaz. And he said, Daphne, there's this thing called thoughts, actions, and results. How you think will determine what you do. And whatever you do will create results, outcomes. So if you think that you can drive your car 100 miles on 50 miles worth of gas, then you'll try to do that. And then what'll happen is you'll run out of gas. So if you don't like the results you're getting, you got to change how you think.
This is great. Now you've got, I'm assuming you have YouTube channels. How can people access, your site, your information? How do they get involved?
Yeah, I would say the first way to get involved is we have a website, latinasincyber.com. You can follow us on our socials. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram. Is it Twitter? I don't. Is it X now?
Yeah.
I'm not actually huge on social media, just a couple of platforms, but really the base of our followers are on LinkedIn and then on some of those other platforms. We do have a Discord channel. So if you are a woman of color and you want to connect with your community, if you're Latina, we have a Discord channel that you can find on our website and also on our LinkedIn page. And that is actually an amazing community. We have over, I think, 700 members in that Discord channel now, where women are connecting all over the United States in different regions, and just, introducing themselves, offering to connect with each other on LinkedIn. I actually just had somebody who posted that she, is in cybersecurity, but she just got her PMP. So I'm, cybersecurity program manager, PMP certified, and has offered to connect with her and kind of guide her if she's looking for opportunities. So it's just a great place to meet others. So those would be primarily the places I would say they can connect with us.
Well, that's wonderful. These are all good things that you're doing in the community. Are there costs associated? Is there basic packages that are involved?
Yeah, I mean, we primarily of the founders, we have an executive team now with a executive director, myself as president and a VP, and then we have a leadership team underneath us. We are driving everything with our volunteer workforce right now, but we've been operating a little bit, like I said, under 2 years, and there are financial costs associated with it. So we are looking for donations and sponsors. So we do look for organizations to sponsor some of our series. We do have a dinner suite series where it allows executives to network with each other at that executive level. So it's kind of an exclusive opportunity. We are looking at someday putting out a summit so we can bring all these women together. So there are operating costs around that. And in regards to some of our education programs, some of them have been donated to us in kind by some of the organizations we're working with. And there are others, like we do have a CISSP program that we're working on, but we are requiring some funds for that. So if there anybody out there that's interested in donating toward our cause or would like to be a sponsor of some of these educational programs so that we can hire the program managers and pay for vouchers and pay for books, those are some of the things that we're looking for as an organization.
No, I love that. That is a call to action. I'm involved with so many different cyber companies. So just like yourself, Palo Alto, the Fortinets of the world, the Trellix of the world, the Ciscos of the world, and there's a lot of them. They would benefit from this type of organization because they get the exposure and then they're in awareness and the wide, and actually helps the whole community to become stronger together. And I really, really like that. Now I'm going to ask you one last question. And this is curious to me because it makes me smile that I look at your journey where you were before you had Latinas in cybersecurity, and you started as a person of one, and where you're at now.
Yeah.
Talk to me. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I like to do things selfishly or selflessly. I'm a patriot. I fought for my nation for over a decade. So giving back and helping our community and women in general is just a passion project for me. So we had an event in the beginning of the year where we kicked off a goal. We did a vision board exercise with our members, and one of the members that was in our session, she ended up telling me that she joined because she heard me speaking at an event a year before, and she wasn't in cybersecurity. She was some other I think insurance or something like that, and totally switched careers and now has her certification from Google and is working on some others and has even offered to become a volunteer. And it honestly made me want to cry because it's knowing that we're making that type of impact. And it's not just me, there's a team of women behind me that we're led by Latinas, and we're all making that difference and giving back to our community and women like ourselves. So we're a very loving, I would say, organization, and it's almost, I would say, like a sisterhood, but not a fraternity or sorority or anything like that. But we really do care about the women that are joining, and we want them to have a great experience. We want them to be educated, and we want to help them find work. So yeah, I would say everybody that's involved feels, just humbled by the experience.
Well, I'm humbled that you're on the Follow Brand podcast. This has been a wonderful experience with you, and I'm looking forward to you sharing that with your community because this is so important. I'm just thinking about how many people are going to now hear about this program that they were not aware of it, and it's going to change lives. I think that's so important. Now, if they want to look you up on LinkedIn, tell us about where your social handles are so they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Those are pretty much the only places I'm at. On LinkedIn, it's Angela Bergsma. I just got married, so it's actually saying that name out loud is new for me. And then on Instagram, and I can send you the handle for my last name because it's a Dutch, so I still forget how to spell it sometimes. But on Instagram, it's I am Ange B, ANGEB. So if you'd like to follow me there, I'm actually on a fitness journey right now, so I'm going to be competing soon. But so if you follow me there, it's a lot about sharing stuff in our community, but it's really about my fitness journey. But more the merrier. So happy to connect there and happy to connect on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. This has been wonderful. And I encourage your entire audience to connect with Follow Brand at 5-Star BDM. That's number 5. Star B for brand, D for development, Infomasters.com. This has been wonderful, Angela. I cannot wait to see you grow and blossom. And when you're going to do a summit, I hope you choose Miami as one of your destinations.
Yeah, that would be great. I think we're looking at doing some of our dinner series out that way. So I'd love to meet you in person.
Absolutely. We're going to make that happen. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for letting me share the story of Latinas in cyber.
You're most welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-Star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
5-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
Hello, leaders and visionaries. Are we ready to exceed our ambitious goals for 2024? At 5-Star BDM, we're your strategic partners, not just futurists. To the trailblazers in business development, healthcare, and IT, you need a path to realize your vision for growth. Our tailored consulting services are your stepping stones to success. We empower you to build brands, deliver results, and captivate audiences. In healthcare and IT, innovation is progress. At 5-Star BDM, we ensure your operations beat with precision, efficiency, and care. Join those who shape the future. Connect with us today. Let's set the stage for a defining quarter. With 5-Star BDM, it's not just business development, it's a beacon of excellence.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K-12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students. Please, you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund or use the Cash App at $BBXUSA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. Please donate to the Black Business Expo USA Scholarship Fund. Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.